Hi guys.
Hi
So,
guys.
hi Zed, how have you been?
Been good. Been a lot of busy these days, but you know why.
Uh,
So how you been?
I've been good. Life has changed, a lot.
Yeah,
लेकिन चल
yeah.
रहा है,
And it's been long since we did one of these videos.
चल रहा है. Managing somehow managing. So that's why it took so long for us to get back on track. है ना?
Well, also the weather these days, yeah. मतलब it's like it's sucking our energy a lot.
हाँ हाँ, वो पहले ऐड में दिखाते थे ना, एनर्जी ड्रिंक के ऐड में.
हाँ
सन
हाँ.
सच में ऐसा एनर्जी पूरा चूस लेता है स्ट्रॉ से.
That is happening
That has been
literally now.
happening. That has been happening in real life, in real time with us.
I think the sun really liked that ad.
So
Yeah.
Zed, how?
Let me hydrate myself.
Yeah, hydration is important in this weather.
Okay.
Okay, so Zed, how have you been feeling about the new tech, the tech industry, where the tech industry is going, and what has been going around us nowadays?
So honestly, in my opinion, like every year it's been the same thing. There have been incremental upgrades. So
Mm-hmm.
even if you see some of those like Chinese companies bring out like leap year ahead in tech, they show something really futuristic, but actual tech that we use in day-to-day life, like Apple phones,
Mm-hmm.
Samsung phones, or wearables, all these things have just been like incremental upgrades each year. So there
Yeah.
hasn't been anything exciting, but it has really made a difference in a day-to-day usage when it comes to that.
एंड ये जो चाइनीज कंपनीज होती है ना, ये जो चीज़ें हमको प्रेजेंट करते हैं एट द CES एक्सपोज, हाँ, टेक एक्सपोज, वो मतलब दोज आर जस्ट द कॉन्सेप्ट मॉडल्स.
Hmm.
दोज मॉडल्स डोंट गेट टू द प्रोडक्शन लाइन एंड गेट टू एंड वी गेट टू यूज इट. वो वैसा होता नहीं है बेसिकली. सो these things where we can just glimpse into the future कि what can be and what is, that difference is huge. बिकॉज ये लोग जो कॉन्सेप्ट फोन्स बताते हैं, ये लोग जो कॉन्सेप्ट टेक बताते हैं, दैट दैट इज years ahead of us, but those tech gadgets don't get to the consumers as often.
And I think this year has been about the those rings. I don't know what to call them now, but
Health rings.
Samsung has brought it. I think other companies have also brought those rings.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't know like how they're transitioning from a watch to a ring and what all differences it would have. I think they are
Hmm.
aiming to house all sensors in that ring, but the watch might be an interface for that because the ring is so small to interact with.
Anyway, that Samsung ring which is being concepted for now, and that will make it way to the consumers eventually. But whenever it comes, वो स्मार्टफोन से ही कनेक्टेड रहेगा, either watch या फिर
Hmm.
स्मार्टफोन्स. हाँ, एंड उसमें रहेंगे वो. दैट दैट रिंग विल बेसिकली केटर टू द ऑडियंस जिनको अपना स्लीप मॉनिटर करना है, जिनको अपनी हार्ट बीट्स मॉनिटर करनी है. एंड आई थिंक उसका जो यूज़ केस है वो उतना ही है. दैट इज़ द ओनली यूज़ केस इट हैज़. और क्या ही वो मॉनिटर कर सकता है? हार्ट रेट मॉनिटर करेगा वाइल वर्किंग आउट, बिकॉज यू नीड टू स्टार्ट योर वर्कआउट्स ईदर यू इन योर वॉच और इन योर फोन, है ना? वो टाइम पे वो
Exactly.
मॉनिटर करेगा. अदरवाइज इट विल जस्ट मॉनिटर स्लीप एंड आर
Hmm.
AFib, heart diseases if anyone has that. It will just keep on monitoring constantly. But the issue is with that ring, बैटरी लाइफ क्या रहेगी यार? बैटरी लाइफ कितनी ही रहेगी?
Exactly. Huh. Plus, I mean, we are already used to our watches. And if you see the
Yeah.
latest Galaxy watch also, it has so many sensors and it also actually tracks your sleep well.
Hmm.
So, like everything is already there and we're also already used to that. To transitioning from this to a ring might take some time. But look at foldables. Even that
Yeah.
took
Yeah.
time. Like now we have the Z Fold 5 with us. So I think now is the time where it's actually flourishing a lot. So many people are using the Z Fold 5 and actually loving
Hmm.
it because until previous generations it was just like something new and like the hinges and all it was a
Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
uncomfortable for some people and it was not like normalized that much, but this is the year like fifth generation now that is a bit normalized, so I think the same thing might happen with the ring as well.
Yeah. And वो ऐसा होता है ना कि the more number of competitors you have, the companies will spend more time R&Ding, more time just perfecting the thing, perfecting the phone, perfecting the device. बिकॉज जैसे जैसे कंपटीशन बढ़ता है, जैसे वन प्लस का फोन आया, वन प्लस ओपन विच इज़ अ फोल्डेबल.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think Vivo has a foldable, I guess.
Hmm.
Even I'm
Hmm.
not sure. And Samsung has it. And iPhone का तो बात ही नहीं करते. iPhones ये चीज़ें हैं जो मतलब जितना कंपटीशन बढ़ेगा उतना मतलब कंपनीज को समझ में आएगा कि दे नीड टू इम्प्रूव एंड दे नीड टू प्रोवाइड अ बेटर वैल्यू फॉर मनी फोन, बेटर वैल्यू फॉर मनी डिवाइस विच विल यू नो अट्रैक्ट ऑडियंसेस, अट्रैक्ट कंज्यूमर्स.
Right.
अदरवाइज आप अगर 1.5 लाख का फ़ोन बेच रहे हो विच इज़ अ फोल्डेबल फ़ोन एंड दैट इज़ द ओनली फोल्डेबल फ़ोन यू कैन फाइंड इन द मार्केट, देन दैट विल एनीवे सेल. बट अगर आपके पास दो ऑप्शन है, एक है सैमसंग का फोल्डेबल एंड एक है वन प्लस का फोल्डेबल, एंड वन प्लस का फोल्डेबल इज लाइक 60,000 चीपर और 50,000 चीपर, इट कॉस्ट 1 लाख इन इंडिया. तो एट दैट टाइम पीपल विल थिंक या सैमसंग लेना चाहिए, वन प्लस लेना चाहिए, क्योंकि वन प्लस में मतलब मैं एक फोल्डेबल फ़ोन भी ले सकता हूँ, प्लस एक और एक डिवाइस ले सकता हूँ, प्लस एक लैपटॉप ले सकता हूँ उस रेंज में. तो दैट मेंटालिटी विल चेंज एंड दैट विल make the companies, make the big organizations to think, make their gadgets perfect.
Right. And I think Oppo pushed them all. I think Oppo Find N had come right in between, which was the foldable.
हाँ,
Yeah.
Oppo Find, and we had discussed it in the previous episodes also.
Right. Yeah. And actually, the thing why it actually was interesting was because of its form factor and the aspect ratio.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was not that weird like we find that in a Z Fold 5 where it's too tall and too like sleek, which
yeah,
it
yeah.
shouldn't be. It's a different aspect ratio that we are not used to. So I think Oppo did that and it pushed others to better their phones as well. So finally Samsung at least they focused on their hinge. So now it's something like it's not that it does not look a lot protruding. It's
Hmm.
a bit straight now and it's blends into the screen more. So like they make these little improvements now.
Yeah, and ये ओवरऑल मतलब जनरेशन वाइज ये होते ही रहेगा, इट विल कीप ऑन हैपनिंग एंड द डिवाइस विल कीप ऑन गेटिंग बेटर. एंड तभी जाके विल someday we might get a perfect smartphone, we might get the perfect smartphone.
I think we are already there yet because the Samsung S24 Ultra, I
Hmm.
think they have already peaked at what Samsung can do. Because
Yeah,
up until
yeah.
last year, I'm seeing a lot of videos when, those videos where Apple fanboy switches to Samsung, those videos. Yeah, in
Yeah,
that up until last year, we always saw that वो कहीं ना कहीं वापस से Apple को ही like lean कर देते हैं. They said कि Samsung was specced up, like अच्छा था, it had everything.
hmm,
But still, at the end of the day, Apple gets the job done. And मतलब
yeah,
थोड़ा
yeah,
reliable भी था, performance भी अच्छी थी, battery life भी अच्छा था.
yeah, yeah,
But this is the year where they're actually saying कि जो S24 Ultra है, उसकी battery life is good, performance is neck and neck with the iPhone,
yeah,
and plus at the same time, camera is also improved a lot.
yeah,
And it's an all-rounder now. So it's like now they are also thinking like, is it really worth to go back to the iPhone? Because Samsung is also neck and neck now. So they don't
yeah.
need to just sit into that ecosystem anymore. They can even switch to Samsung. So I think this is the year where Samsung has peaked up.
Yes, yes, exactly. Because S24 या फिर एस अल्ट्रा लाइनअप को केटर करने के लिए या फिर उनको बूस्ट करने के लिए व्हाट दे डिड वाज दे किल्ड द नोट लाइनअप एंटायरली from S23 Ultra, right? Last year they killed the Note lineup entirely, and because of that, what they did was they put all the features from the Note family into this Ultra family. They in this S24 Ultra, in the previous S23 Ultra, they even gave the stylus, the S Pen, into the Ultra phone, so that the consumers who are used to using big phones like the Galaxy Note and the Ultras, they will use that S Pen, proactively, and they have also integrated a few features, like they can use the S Pen as a remote for clicking pictures and taking videos, right? So that has been done very brilliantly.
Yeah, I think they went step by step. Like with the S21, you had to buy the S Pen separately.
Yeah,
And they
yeah,
gave a case where you can attach the S Pen. With the S22 Ultra, they gave the S Pen in the box. So they moved away entirely from the Note lineup.
yeah.
With the S22 had issues with heating up and performance. Because even though it was a powerful smartphone with the Snapdragon 8 Gen, but
Hmm.
still it had a lot of heating issues. So the
Okay.
next year with the S23, they improved with the heating issues. They improved performance and battery life.
Yeah.
So now at the S24, like they had already had everything so good. Like now they actually, made it all near perfect, like you can say.
Yeah, and actually, this gets me thinking about the next iteration of this phone. because they have made big upgrades, big leap forward into the tech, and like they are almost there in terms of perfecting a smartphone. They are almost there. And what I adore about this S24 Ultra or any Ultra phone, and which is its camera. Because आप जब भी concerts जाते हो, so the biggest thing you regret if you are an iPhone user, the biggest thing you regret is not having a Samsung Ultra phone which can, zoom way further, and then you can witness the artist like you're sitting next to him, or you are in the front line, front row in that concert.
But I'm glad that you mentioned this point because, this is something, I mean, if you talk about near perfect and what is missing, this is something that is missing this year actually. Because
Okay.
what they did was they tried to compete with Apple. So
Hmm.
they removed their 10x lens and put a 5x lens. So
Okay.
what happens is that until 10x or 30x, you get good ranges of zoom, good details. But beyond that, you don't have an actual lens to actually get the
Uh-huh.
information there. So all that is AI now. So
So
when you
that zoom is made by digitally zooming, right? That is no
exactly,
optical
exactly,
zooming. That is digital
exactly.
digital
So
zooming.
so what they're doing is if you're zooming like if you're using space zoom
Hmm.
and by 100x. So what happened that up until last year it was a combination of hardware, software. That periscope lens was acting,
Yeah.
and you were actually getting that 100 times space zoom, of course, with a lot of processing there as well. But now they have imparted AI into that. So
Yeah.
what is
Yeah.
happening, it actually comes out a bit weird because you see the text there. If you do 100 times zoom and if there's some text in the image, you see
Yeah.
the text clearly, but you can clearly make out it's built by AI. It's not
Yeah,
real.
yeah, correct, correct, correct. Yeah.
So that is something I think they might focus on improving next year because they have just introduced their AI. And I don't think,
Yeah.
I mean, AI has been there for quite a while. And all these features that they have been talking about with their AI features, I don't think they are just new, but they're just
Mhm.
trying to, make the user interface more like simple to use.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I think the next year they might, take it a step further with that.
Mhm. I think you are using an Ultra phone, right? Zed?
Yes, S22.
S20. So you are there. You have witnessed the heating issues, the battery issues. You have
Exactly.
been
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So
So I
I,
think that
huh.
that might just be one of those reasons why I might switch to a S24 Ultra phone. But the only reason I think this might be for all the users who are using S22 or S23.
Mhm.
I don't think it is that worth to switch to an S24 now. I think you should wait for the S25. The reason being is that the improvements that have been made, they don't justify the price point there. So
Okay.
even though Samsung gives a lot of offers, lot of exchange offers also, the improvements that you're seeing, because if you see comparisons of the camera, if you, for example, if you take the
Mhm.
camera, if you see online comparisons of the S22 and the S24,
Mhm.
there isn't like a day and night difference between them. So even if you have an S22 today, it's not like you're missing out on a lot. So
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think those who are holding on to that, you can hold on for one more year and wait for the S25 as well.
yeah. That might be a better phone. Almost perfect, but not as much.
It's
Yeah.
always the same thing.
And I've been reading a few articles that which phone should you get if you're considering an S24 series, S24 family phone. Which phone should you get? Okay, should you get the S24 Plus or the Ultra? And if you ask me, if any person asks me that they want to get an S24 family phone, but they are confused between S24 Plus and S24 Ultra, I would suggest them to go for S24 Plus. There are 3 points to that. A better battery because it has a low resolution screen, not 2K or 4K screen. It has a 1080p screen, right? 1.5K screen. So that preserves battery. So because of the smaller resolution of the phone, your battery will sustain longer. It is cheaper also, and it gets the job done basically. In the cheaper price, whatever you want to do with the S24 Ultra, it gets all of those boxes ticked.
Surprisingly, even though like S24 and Plus have the Exynos chip, but
Yeah.
this year Exynos is not at all disappointing. It's just neck and neck with the Snapdragon one. If at all it's like it does not surpass the Snapdragon
Hmm.
variant, it is still just like close to it.
Yeah.
So you don't lose out on battery life, you don't lose out on the camera performance or anything like that. So the Exynos is actually not disappointing this year.
Yeah, everything seems to be working in Samsung's favor for now.
Yeah,
But
but if you ask me, considering the price point and everything, and how much you won't have to spend, like the price to value ratio, if you tell ask me, I would suggest to go with the Ultra only. The reason
okay.
being is that the S24 regular, if you see, that also is not an affordable phone. It's still, I think, around 80K or something. So if you go for the Ultra,
Hmm.
so there are a lot of offers that Samsung is offering, at least for now, promotional offers, exchange
Yeah,
offers.
yeah,
So you
yeah,
can get
yeah.
it close to a price of the S24 Plus. So
Okay,
it's
okay.
better to just jump to the Ultra because that will actually give you a lot of benefits in the long run as well.
Yeah. Isn't this the way like these companies trying to upsell
Yes,
things to
yeah,
us? Like if you're getting an S24, then why not go for a bigger storage phone? Okay. And if you have considered 256 or 512 GB phone, then you are just 2 or 3,000 rupees away from getting the S24 Plus. And if you do the same thing to S24 Plus, then you are just 5 to 6,000 rupees away from S24 Ultra. Then they try to upsell you these things by doing the such things, right? They just want us to give as many options as they can so that we get confused, and the salesperson which they are, which they are appointing in their galleries, in their showrooms, in their stores, they can just try to upsell us things. then
exactly. That
then
is why
if
nobody talks about the S24 and the S24 Plus. Everyone just talks about the Ultra. And even when it comes to iPhone, they use the same strategy. So nobody talks about the iPhone 15 Pro regular one.
yeah, yeah,
Everyone either talks about, even the 15 plus is not that much talked about or that much bought these days. The
yeah,
iPhone
correct.
15 the regular, the smallest one is the one usually people buy, or they go all the way together to the 15 Pro
Pro
Max.
Max. Yeah. This is the thing. If See, I am an iPhone user, so I know more about iPhone than the Samsung ecosystem. So, in terms of Indian rupees, iPhone 15 is 80,000, right? 128 GB, and iPhone the 15 256 GB is 90,000, around 90,000. So you can get iPhone 15 plus 128 GB in 90,000. So that is already there. The upselling is already there. If you're just, why not just get a better phone? Why not just get a bigger phone? Your battery will stay
Exactly.
for be there for longer amount of time and everything. And if you are prepared to buy a phone, iPhone 15 plus, and if you want to get 256 GB, then you are just 10,000 rupees away from getting a pro, or getting a
Exactly.
pro phone, right? And if you are getting a pro phone, then you are just 10,000 rupees away from getting a pro max. This is the technique, this is the tactic which these four smartphone companies are using, and we are falling prey to it.
Exactly. And that is why all the reviews that reviewers make, people really need to watch that.
Yeah, yeah,
I mean, because it's really difficult for someone to identify on their own, like how much they should spend on a smartphone and which one they should get, which one is the
yeah,
right one for them.
yeah,
Because nowadays it's so difficult to understand because, generally what happens is that people think they want to buy an iPhone. So when they look at the first iPhone, the regular one, it's like, oh, it's just like it's 80,000 rupees. You can get so much
mhm,
in an Android phone at that price point.
yeah,
So, okay, so if I want to buy an iPhone, that is fine. I'm going to spend 80,000 rupees. But like just how you mentioned now, that mentality starts now. Like just if you spend a little extra, you get more. You spend a little extra, you get more, and then you spend all the way because why not? Because you're already spending so much, right?
yeah.
So that
and
that
and
happens,
and that person won't even understand that they have paid a premium amount of 40 to 50,000 rupees, and if they have gone into the store thinking of buying a regular iPhone 15, then they will come out of the store by after buying an iPhone 15 Pro Max. The difference is there. The way these companies are upselling us things, that is huge, and that is I think one of the biggest marketing technique that we should learn from them.
right? Yeah. Speaking about iPhones, Speaking about iPhones, what do you think about the iPhone 16 series, and what
16
do you expect from
series,
them?
I don't expect much from it. I just know that there will be changes. Obviously, there will be changes. It will have a capture button from what I have read and what I've understood till now. It will have a capture button like the Sony phones used to have, right? It will have a dedicated shutter button. Whenever in landscape mode, you can just click that button and start shooting or start taking pictures, right? So that might also act as a camera shortcut. Regular 16 phones will also have the action button. Gone are the days of that mute switch.
Mute switch. Hmm.
It will have smaller bezel, and I think the 16 Pro Max will have a periscope lens, and it will help it to compete with Samsung's 100x zoom.
Right, yeah.
These are the only things I know. I haven't read about it much, but these are the only things I know. What about you, man?
The most thing what I'm expecting from Apple, and they should do it this year, is have a higher refresh rate in the regular phones.
Yeah, at least
Because
90 hertz. At least
at
90
least
hertz.
90 hertz, at least 90 hertz, because now they even have the dynamic island in the
Yeah,
regular phones. So
yeah,
dynamic island, yeah, it's a smooth transition, it's a smooth notification pop-up which we have, and it tracks a lot. But with the 60 hertz thing, it's not as smooth as how we see on the pro phones. So
yeah,
at least
yeah.
a bit of a high refresh rate would make the experience better in those phones.
Yeah, we are not asking for a 120 hertz display, 120 hertz LTPO display. We are just asking for a 90 hertz display. Like like what they have in the Pixel phones, right? The smaller phones will get 90 hertz refresh rate, and the bigger phones will get 120 hertz refresh rate screen. So that will make a big amount of difference, because anyway people are getting bored of the same old mundane things the iPhone has. Now the only way sorry, not Samsung, Apple can lure customers, lure people into buying or upgrading to the newer phones. Because anyway, if you buy an iPhone 13 or iPhone 12, it will easily last you for around 5 to 6 years. If you don't want to upgrade and if you don't have crazy amounts of money, then it will anyway last for around 5 to 6 years. So if they want us to upgrade, if they want us to buy new phone every year, they need to keep on adding those small pointers what they offer in pro phones, and as well as new features also. And that 90 hertz refresh rate, I think that will be a game changer for at least iPhones 16 and 16 plus series.
Exactly, yeah. I'm not sure how that would affect the battery life of the 16 plus though, because currently the 15 plus is one of the best, having one of the best battery lives because of it has a
Yeah,
lower
yeah,
refresh rate display.
yeah.
I think they should also give an option to toggle this on and off somewhere.
Yeah,
If
either
you
60
choose,
hertz or 60 hertz or 90 hertz. That should be
yes,
done.
yeah.
That should be their option.
Exactly. And I think they're also focusing on a 48 megapixel ultra wide on the Pro phones, which
Hmm.
I don't know how that would pan out. I mean, of course, it's Apple, so it would have better resolution and would give capabilities like the main sensor, the 48 megapixel.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
I think it would encourage people to use an ultra wide even more often, because currently it's not that much of a good quality, and I don't think until now anyone really focuses on the ultra wide lens a lot. So next year that they are going to make it up to 48 megapixels as per the leaks what we have seen
yeah,
so far.
yeah. And I'm using an iPhone 13 right now, and I have seen people using 15 iPhone 15, regular iPhone 15, as well as a regular iPhone 14, and the quality, the low light quality of that ultra wide lens is very poor. You'll get grainy shots. The shots won't be clear, and at night time it will be a disaster. It will be as good as taking a picture from an iPhone 7.
Hmm.
It is just like that. Just the camera angle and the range will be much better, because it shoots at I think 108 degrees. But still it shows the having poor camera quality, and that too for an ultra wide lens. So this thing will help, but I think this thing will only be on the pro phones, not on the regular phones. But it should also be there on the regular phones. But I think the regular phones will get it in the next to next iterations, like the iPhone 17s, right?
Hmm. Right, yeah. And I think also the another thing they're trying to put is now the iPhone 15 Pro Max has the 5 times telephoto instead of the 3 times, and the 15 Pro has the 3 times lens.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what I've been hearing so far that they will put the 5 times in the regular Pro as well. But I'm
Okay,
not
okay.
sure how many people would appreciate this, because usually when it comes to portrait mode shots, people usually prefer 3 times zoom. So even
Hmm.
I myself, if you ask me, I would go for the regular 15 Pro just for the 3 times lens, because the 5 times is just too far for a portrait mode shot. So for zoom
Okay.
shots, it's good. But usually if you use the 5 times lens, then you have to move away from the subject even further. So which might
Hmm.
not be that convenient if you take a lot of portrait shots. So the three times actually helps. So that
Yeah.
is a bit of a dilemma in this year actually. So if so people who take a lot of portrait shots, they are going towards the regular pro because it has the three times optical lens. And people who
Hmm.
like to take a lot of zoom shots, they go for the Pro Max. But
Yeah.
then, there's this confusion about battery life because the 15 Pro obviously is really sucks at the battery. So that dilemma is there this year. I hope this reduces from the next year onwards.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sure it does. And I think we should also talk in some other episode about the wish list that we have and that we want to present to Apple if they are listening. I'm sure that they are not, obviously. But I think we should do an episode where we just give away our iOS 18 wish list. iOS, watchOS, whatever kind of things we are using, and you can, as you are an Android user, so you can give away your Android wish list, the next Android version list wish list.
So we can also list down some of the things what iPhone still does not do that Android does, and vice
Yeah,
versa.
yeah,
Because there are
yeah,
basic things I've seen an iPhone really sucks at doing those things, which an Android just does it simply like that.
and it has
And
been
there are
doing
also
it for years. The things
4 years
that, yeah,
exactly.
for years.
And vice versa, I've seen for Android as well. In iPhone, if you see, for example, one thing I can think of is like if you want to copy a text from an image,
Hmm.
when it comes to iPhone, just press and then just select the text right from an
Yeah,
image.
yeah, yeah.
But in Samsung phones, it's not that much easy. Like
Hmm.
for example, in my Samsung phone, what I have to do is I have to extract that text explicitly from that image. So that is
Okay.
one just extra step. It takes away from the smooth user experience. So I
Yeah,
think these are
yeah,
some little things which Android misses out, some iOS misses out. So I think we can list these down in the
yeah,
next
yeah. We'll
episode
we'll
as well.
definitely do that. We'll definitely do that. So coming to our last point, I am very curious about it. Uh, iPhone SE. It's been a joke, I guess, but because the you are still getting the smaller form factor which you were getting till iPhone 8, right? iPhone 7, the same form factor which you are getting since iPhone 6, right? From I think 2013, we are getting the same form factor, and we are still getting that. We are
Right.
still getting that form factor in iPhone in terms of iPhone SE. So, what are your thoughts about it? Is it still relevant in today's market, in today's tech industry, in today's tech scene?
So are you
Is
sure that they're
iPhone
going to
SE?
use the iPhone 12's body in the SE one, new SE 4? Because the
I'm not
leaks
sure.
I have been seeing so
Yeah.
far, I mean, see what they do is they use the most popular form factor which has
Hmm.
been selling for them,
Yeah.
and that should be from the previous generation, not this generation. So, so I think in this terms of this, I think it might be the 10R. It might be the 10R's body
10
that they
hour.
are going to reuse, and they
Yeah.
are
Yeah.
going to put the camera of the 12 or the 13 perhaps.
10R or the 11, those are one and the same thing, but they will just use the body of 10R, and then they'll just introduce an extra lens, ultra wide lens, that to offer a lower resolution, lower quality, because that would be just cheaper to manufacture, or just cheaper to make, right?
Right. But in
And
India, I think the SE does not make sense at all. Because even if you see the current SE, the previous SE, which is on sale right now,
yeah,
that is also like 40, 50K. Uh,
yeah,
it
still
starts at
40,
50K.
50 pay. Yeah.
50K, exactly. So, so who would buy a phone like that at, such a price point, compromising battery life, compromising the screen size,
Yeah,
resolution,
yeah.
quality, compromising camera and everything? I think people would just spend a little extra, maybe get, even the iPhone 13 is a discount now, which you might get the same price now.
In the festive season and during the sales on Amazon and Flipkart, we get iPhone 13 for less than 50,000, right? And we get iPhone SE for around 40,000.
That is why I don't know why. I mean, would Apple even like market an iPhone SE in India, because that does not make sense at all. Or they
Yeah,
should at least reduce the price of it. They should at least have it somewhere around 30K or 35K. I think that might be a
yeah.
sensible price
At
for
least
that iPhone.
25 to 30K.
25 to 30, yeah. Because
Because
again, that
it
might add on taxes and everything.
if Apple is selling us the iPad, the ninth generation iPad, for 27,000 rupees, and it costs around $329 back there in US. So it is possible for them to price that phone which is $399 in the US, right?
Mm.
To around 30,000, at least 25 or 30,000. They can just cut their profit share by a little bit, but it will just encourage people to get their first iPhone to or buy their first iPhone in terms of iPhone SE, right? And it will be a very big a marketing strategy or a success for Apple. And if they want to do it, they can surely can.
Yeah, and then it would be selling like hotcakes because
Yeah,
at that price point, if you're getting a new iPhone, then we haven't seen it, before. Because I remember those days when the actual iPhone used to be around 60,000 or something, the new iPhone which we
yeah,
used to get,
yeah,
the 6S, 6S and all those phones.
yeah,
But
yeah,
after that, it just kept on increasing, and like if you want an iPhone, you should spend. It has become that trend that you should spend at least 1 lakh rupees for that.
yeah. At least, or if you are getting a smaller model, then at least
Hmm.
80K, at
At
least
least 80.
80,000.
Because even that is at 128 GB storage. So if
Yeah,
you're using it for a long time, then that becomes a bit, less satisfying. So you might need more always. So people have to jump to the 256 gigs version for that, and then it again increases the price for that.
yeah, exactly. See, what I want the newer iPhone SE to have is the form factor of an iPhone mini, the mini iPhone, the form factor of iPhone 13 mini. Okay, the battery life of iPhone 13 mini, which was anyway better than 12 mini, and all the features which 13 mini has had, and they can also put the same chipset with which 13 mini had. Okay, and they can just basically manufacture the 13 mini again, start manufacturing
The
that phone
same
again,
phone.
and
Hmm.
just brand it as iPhone SE and just sell it as iPhone SE. We won't complain actually, and people will actually buy those phones. The catch is they just need to reduce the prices, and they should at least market the price or market the phone from ranging from around 35 to the 40K. That will be more than enough for iPhone SE to sell.
Exactly, because iPhone 13 mini was one of the favorite phones for the mini lovers.
Yeah, yeah,
Even though not a lot of people got used to it, because at first it looks at first it looks a bit interesting for everyone,
yeah.
small form factor, and it does everything, a good performing phone, a good camera in that. But in the long run, people usually sell it because of the smaller factor, again the bad battery life, and also the small screen, because we do a lot of things on our phone these days. And if you buy a mini phone, then obviously you need a tablet as well, because
Mm,
some if you do editing stuff, or if you consume a lot of media, then it's not practically possible
yeah,
to do that for a longer period of time on a mini phone.
yeah,
So I think
yeah.
that is the reason that not many people like the mini. But yeah, those who were actually used to it actually adored that form factor. The 30 mini was the most favorite one. So if, as you rightly said, if Apple just rebrands that into the SE, then also I think it would sell really well.
Yeah, yeah. They just need to price that phone properly by keeping the Indian markets in check and Indian markets in mind, Indian consumers in mind. They can't just introduce an iPhone 13 mini and call it iPhone SE, and then they can again charge 60K for that. That won't work. That will
Right,
not work
exactly. Huh.
ever.
Mm.
But this thing, if they just start manufacturing 13 mini again, brand it as iPhone SE, and price it around 35 to 40K, it will sell. It will any day sell. And if Indians are striving to buy an iPhone and striving to switch to iPhones, because if we are seeing a tremendous rise in sales of iPhones, so this will also help Indians to get hold of their first iPhone. And if it makes sense for Apple, they should definitely do that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I think that's it for today.
Yeah. This I think was our good comeback session for us.
Exactly, yeah. And I think it sets us on the right foot. And I for even for me, I've been away from the tech world for quite a while now, but
Hmm.
it's really interesting to follow these little things, the little improvements that these companies do each year.
Yeah,
And I really would like to see, because like 5 years ago from now, we used to expect a lot from our smartphones, out of which 80-90% is already there today.
yeah,
So
yeah.
hopefully by next year and all, we might get the just those perfect phones that we used to dream of.
Yeah, the dream phone, we'll call it.
The
We'll talk
nothing
about it
phone.
also. Once it is in the market, once it is launched, we'll talk about it on this podcast.
Yeah, surely.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks
yeah.
for having me. It was
It,
really
it is it is
an amazing
always my
session.
pleasure to have you.
Thank you, same here. And next time, hopefully, we'll do it in person. We'll also
Yeah,
collaborate more on that level. So that would be an amazing
yeah.
experience.
We'll try
And
to make this thing weekly, a weekly
sure,
thing.
yeah.
Yeah.
Chalo, okay. Bye.
Bye,
Thank you.
bye. Thank you all for watching. Please consider subscribing.
Yeah.
Bye.